In this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 artifacts, in my opinion, that I believe that you should be trying to focus on. So stick around in this video and find out what I think the top 5 is. Let's get it. Welcome back to CO Gaming, and today we're talking about some artifacts. We're going to go over what I believe the top 5 artifacts is, which can be very discretional because there's so many good ones. It's hard to just pick 5, but we're going to do just that. We're going to do this on a scale. We're just going to kind of talk about them and go through it. So, in my opinion, one of the most recent artifacts that has came out is Goldcrest, and I honestly believe if you run this artifact with the right the right commander and the right commander setup with the right pairing, this thing is an absolute beast. If you do this with Freygar, as long as she is in that rotation, in that pairing, this thing is by far the best, and I mean the best artifact in this game. I just don't think there is a question about it. The amount of damage and whatnot output that you put with this is crazy and insane. So that would be my number one artifact that I would choose if you're going to get a artifact for a archer, as long as you have Freygar in that pairing. Best artifact in the game. Coming in at number 2 of what I would say the second best artifact in the game is this is where it gets kind of discretional for me because of the fact that there's so many good ones. But just to choose one that is probably more common, maybe not a little harder to get, I'm going to say is probably still Phoenix Eye, because magic is so heavily used and everybody has a Lilia or a Valen or even a Waldir, depending on how you started out. It's really easy to obtain, and it's better than most of the other magic ones because it does the AoE damage to where it hits the 4 enemy legions, which is why I believe it's probably the best as far as magic goes. And then just overall, I think those AoE ones are just amazing items, period. So coming in at number 3, we're going to switch this up and we're going to go to Cav. So I'm going to say that the best Cav item is going to be Spring Blades, which is the newest one out. What makes this so amazing is when he throws the blade, it hits you for that initial damage, and then it hits you 3 more times for the next 5 seconds. Pretty amazing item overall. The damage factor is extremely good on it as well for the primary hit and for the secondary hit once you have this thing kind of maxed out. Even at a base 1, it's extremely good, and it also gives you, of course, the Cav attack, the Legion attack, which is always good. It's just a heavy offensive item, and it's the item that I would go with. So for the next item, which would be number 4, we're going to kind of go to infantry, and this is the one that kind of, it's hard to honestly choose the best infantry item because of the fact that there's so many good ones, and it's also depending on what you're doing. Are you actually building a infantry attack, or are you building a infantry defense, tanking? Like, what are you doing? But overall, they're all pretty good. Probably the item that I personally like the most, that I would use in the long run, once I actually have it to the point that I actually want it, which somewhere around here. Nope, that's not it either. Here we go. Is the Spring of Silence. I really like this one because it deals damage to 3 enemy legions as a designated arc. The overall damage is really good. It gives you the infantry unit attack and legion attack because I would rather have the offense. But a close second option as far as what your infantry would do is if you were going to play more of a defensive style, I really like the Greymar's Warhammer. It gives you that same situation to where it's, instead of attack, you get the infantry and legion defense, and it still does a damage to 4 surrounding enemies, which is really good. Your damage factor and everything's extremely well as well. And you get the chance to stun. So you have to choose whether you want to be offensive or defensive. I know a lot of people play the infantry to kind of just be that meat shield that stands in front of everything. So in that case, you would go with the Grey Mars Warhammer. But at the same time, infantry is really hard to just outright kill anyway. So you could be that attacking infantry up there with 3 or 4 or 5, 6 other marches, whatever your group has with you, and that's just kind of what you do with it. You do some extra damage instead of just sitting there being a meat shield. You can still be that meat shield, but also inputting that damage all the same. So that's why I would go with Spring of Silence. And for the final item on this list, is kind of a toss up, but overall, I think you almost have to go back to uh, it. Man, it's hard. It's hard to pick a fifth one. It really is. They're all so good, but uh, I'm gonna say this item right here, the Breath of Jargentus, is probably an extremely good item if you get it or once you get it. I haven't actually seen this item yet, so I don't know. I haven't even seen anybody use this yet, but just looking at its stats and what it does, it seems extremely insane as far as magic goes. Once again, it's attack. And this right here that targets up to 10 enemy legions in a designated circle. It also inflicts defensive break that reduces your defense by 16% for 20 seconds. Man, like that to me just seems like it could be extremely broken and very potent for a magic build. So I'm going to go with 5, but this really could be a toss up as well because Kingslayer is extremely good. Sorlin's Blade is extremely good. There's so many extremely good items that a top 5 list is near impossible to really do, but that's what we're going to roll with. We're going to roll with Goldcrest as number 1. We're going to roll with Phoenix Eye as number 2. Then we're going to do Spring Blades as 3. 4 will be Spring of Silence, and that covers all 4 of your marches. And then if you want to throw a 5th one in there, we will roll with this with a lot of close efforts from everything else that you could really exchange this with a great many things. Like we're excluding Shadow Blades from this, and it by far is one of the best marksman items in the game. So that's my top 5. If you enjoy content like this, check out the end cards at the end of the video. I have several videos that will be there. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications for the next video that comes out. Until next time, CO out.